Hi everybody. Today is yet another day. And I found out what that adorable pup is. When he was just starting to get his fur in, he started to look like a smoked pearl. But as he got older, you can see he's lost his almost pinky look, which is what you look for in a smoked pearl, is a pinky rose gray color. And he has lost that, so I'm assuming that was more on the line of his skin. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, well, if he's not a smoked pearl, what is he? Well, I was trying to figure out what Smokey, his grandfather, was. And I was pretty sure that he was some kind of gray, but I wasn't sure which. I found out that he was a light gray. He wasn't a roan, he wasn't a dark gray, he was what you would call light gray. Now the only problem with a light gray is it's very dominant. And what I mean by dominant, I mean it actually will be quite known that your pups will end up having it. The reason why I couldn't tell very well with the litter of Coco's is because she's also a sable, which sable carries umbrus. Umbrus is a dominant gene, which causes the pups to almost look like they have spots of gray, can even turn them almost black, and it's pretty much, I'm not exactly sure if it's a color or if it's a pattern. Either way, it can pretty much cover your entire hamster, making them almost look black or gray, when in fact it's just a different color covering it up. Anyways, which light gray, seen as this one here, is what you call the lethal gray gene, meaning you don't want to breed these specific hamsters in general with any kind of light gray or dark gray or even possibly black, due to the fact that even though it's a dominant gene, it does not necessarily mean that you can see it. Meaning, a black hamster, for example, might not necessarily be a black hamster. It might be a hamster that has some kind of umbrus attached to them, or they might be what I like to call a silent carrier, where you can't see it, but it's there. So you always run the risk of having a hamster like that carry the lethal gray gene. Now, the reason why it's called the lethal gray gene is because if you breed two hamsters that have the lethal gray gene, you'll end up losing 25% of your pups. I believe it's to either liver or kidney failure, but it might be heart failure too, I don't remember. It's pretty much a death sentence to 25% of the litter. And the reason why I know that he's a gray is if you look at certain parts of some of the other hamsters, you can see that there's gray trickled in here, and you can see on that mink that instead of being almost like a bright orange, like that's kind of how I describe a mink, is kind of a brighter orangey kind of orange. Anyways, you can see that there's gray trickled in it, which is once again why it's considered a dominant gene. Once again, you might not necessarily be able to see it as bold as that one hamster, but it can still be hidden. Because, yeah, that's just how their genetics work, especially with a dominant gene. So, in essence, Smokey was a light gray. And that's why she ended up having one gray pup plus gray trickled through most of her pups. Once again, it can be a trickle through them, or it can be the entire hamster. Point is, if you have a litter, especially that has that kind of a hamster in it, avoid breeding them to blacks or any kind of gray, just for the fact that it could be hidden. Because once again, even though this one is black, he was born from her who carries the lethal gray gene, which means that he has the possibility of carrying the lethal gray gene. So if I ended up breeding him to a gray female who could possibly carry that gene, once again, I would be risking the hamster's litter. So for that, it's going to be the end of this video. So, toodles everybody!